Events and fandoms, reservations and blockouts. You are now tuned in to the Disney Holic Show.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Holic Show. That's Mike TV.
And that's Jen Diz.
Today we are still floating on air in our new home and freshly transplanted Disney park locals. From special events to fan days to epic dance parties, we've got it all. All right, what that intro was supposed to say was today we are still floating on air in our new home as freshly transplanted Disney park locals. From special events and fan days to epic dance parties, we've got plenty to share about our magical new adventure. Whatever came out of my mouth was not that, but here we are. Now you
Here
have
we
it,
are, and you
right?
know what?
Sometimes
At least we're
happens.
back. We're back.
We are back.
We've I'm gonna say we broke a record to make it sound exciting because last week was the first time ever that we had to skip a week of the podcast.
First time ever. And my brain is still a fog, obviously. Mike and I both came down with different types of illnesses on different coasts of America.
Yep.
Sick as hell. Couldn't pull it off. So welcome back,
Welcome
everybody.
back. Be
Sorry we couldn't
careful
be there
out
for you
there.
last week.
Don't let your
That
guard
is,
down. I learned my lesson. I got to go back to washing hands more frequently, especially
yep.
since we're locals and we're always hanging out at the parks.
Yes. I've really had to reevaluate that because, man, I thought about it. I was like, you know how many times I come home from Disneyland and get sick?
No.
And then I'm like, but now that's like every other day. So like I have
Yeah,
to really think
right.
about how this is going to work out. So speaking of being a local, I don't know about you, Mike, but I am still just literally floating on air. Like I am so content and happy, and so many things are like just like different feelings and stuff. So I thought we would share a little more.
Yeah,
Does that sound good?
samesies. I'm still also there's moments where I'm like driving the 10 minutes it takes to get to Disney World and I want to just cry for some reason because I'm like,
Right?
what? What's happening? Like, it's just so different knowing that I can just go over there like a cartwheel away. And then when the the parking attendant people at the theme park parking lots, like when they greet me and say hi, like I'm extra happy and friendly to them. I'm just like so excited. I feel like, oh hey neighbor, like here I am.
Right?
Amazing.
Totally. It is amazing. I've had a couple new feelings come up since last time we talked, and one of them is that I keep having these moments where I keep feeling like, oh shit, I need to get whatever I've been excited about done because I feel like I have to leave at some point because that's what I've been used to my whole life.
Yeah,
So I
wow.
get this like random like rush or urgency feeling, and I'm like, wait, Jen, you live here now. You can just take your time and do whatever. So that keeps happening.
That's a trip.
Um,
I keep reminding myself, oh, this is my apartment. It's not a DVC. I sometimes
mhm.
have to remember that because it's still only been like a month and some change. So yeah, it still kind of does feel that way. I get it. I totally get it.
Right. And you know what? Like, I hope this doesn't come off as like braggy or anything, but you and I both got pretty nice places, right? We got like a
Yeah.
nice apartment and they do kind of feel hotel-y,
Yeah.
right? A little
Yeah.
bit. And two things have happened already. One was like, I realized I was like, I can't remember what I was thinking about. I was like, oh, I hope they don't try to come through the room. Like, I had a moment where I was like, oh, they're going to come clean my apartment, which is not a thing. I wish it was. It's
That'd be
not a
nice.
thing.
That would be
And
nice.
then I had my friend ask where the ice machine is. And I'm like, this is not,
What?
we're
That's
not a
hilarious.
hotel.
That's
So like
hilarious.
there's that whole feeling of vacation that just like is continuing through. And I don't think I realized that when I did pick my apartment, but I think that was part of it. It just like feels like what I am usually doing down here is comfort
And
level
what
of
a
like,
perfect Disney Holics coincidence that both of our apartments are managed by the same property company and they
so
love
weird.
their amenities in these places. It does
They
feel
do.
like a resort. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. Um, So another couple things I wanted to share. One was that I experienced my first race weekend here in Anaheim. And it was like Black History Month weekend parade. Like the parade was happening that weekend and race day at Disneyland. So there was like all sorts of streets
Yeah.
closed down. It was like pretty crazy. I couldn't get around the city at all.
What was the
Didn't care because I am here for all of that. So it's fine.
what was
But,
the
huh?
Run Disney theme for this one?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know.
girl, you're local. You better figure out.
I'm not trying to
I don't
run, so
know.
I don't pay attention.
Same. I had texted you, I think the day of D Run Disney, and I was like, what are these people doing? I don't want to see this on my feed right now. It just seems tiring and exhausting and very early in the morning, and you got to pay for it.
Yeah, I've always thought the same. However, it does look fun. Like they have so many special things to do. I just can't imagine wanting to do it in the middle of running.
Yeah.
Like I don't want anyone taking photos of me anywhere. I don't
And
care how cool the
people
characters are.
go
Don't
all
look at me. I'm
out.
running.
I saw somebody, she was dressed in a like lycra skin tight C3PO thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, that how do you run with that?
Right.
Dedicated,
In fact, I
dedicated.
want to start going to the cheering zones. They have so many of those little cheer zones. So I can see like those cool costumes and stuff and then cheer people on as they run through. It's just it's cute. I've done that one before. Sorry, the hiccups. But I have to say, one huge pro about race, or okay, cons I already said the streets are crazy, but Disneyland specific, the cons are that the park is bananas, right? It's like crazy because everybody's in town.
Really? Oh, I for some reason I didn't
Bananas
put that together.
until like 6 p.m. because all those fools that are running have to get up very early. So the whole
Uh-huh.
park vacates. And I was floating around Disneyland like 9 p.m. Me and my roommate were just like going around. We walked into Oga's, no line. Went in there, was like maybe 20 people, had a drink. Like it was like easy peasy, super cool. I got all these like empty park photos. Like, so there are pros to it if you are not there for the actual race. However, if you're trying to do a regular weekend trip to Disneyland, I would avoid race weekends for sure because it was kind of crazy.
I
Um,
love that we each experienced something similar to emptied out parks because at Disney World, Super Bowl Sunday
oh yeah,
was pretty empty, relatively empty. And I kind of thought it would be, but I didn't mind if it was going to be crowded. It was like I was like, I'm just gonna go head over there. Dead. I like walked on to Rise of the Resistance at Hollywood Studios. I played a whole
nice.
like 3 hours of the Bounty Hunter game in Star Wars without anybody in my way to like scan for the credits and all that. Rode Star Tours. I had like a little Star Wars moment, but I was surprised at how empty it was. And it started right around, I think it was like what, 6 o'clock Eastern time was the game. So right around like five, similar to your experience, like the second half of the day cleared out. And that's our favorite time
Yeah,
to go anyway. So it worked out.
yeah, totally. Same here. I also went to Disneyland on Super Bowl Sunday, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. But um, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was empty, but it wasn't a heavy day. It was a light day.
Yeah, a light
Not like
day.
one of those weird empty days though, but it was pretty light and very nice. But that was my first solo day in a long time. So I
Wow.
like didn't really do too much that I could really benefit from that from.
You know what's
However, I
also
had a beautiful
the
day, so it's fine.
you're talking about pros and cons of Run Disney. I would say at Disney World, the pros and cons of Super Bowl Sunday is the next day beyond packed because the winners show up at Magic
Oh,
Kingdom for a
oh,
parade.
how funny. They go to Disneyland too, don't they?
I think it's
Or
Disney
who
World
goes to
every time.
Disneyland?
They go, I'm going to Disney World. It's like at the end, it's like the ad.
Yeah.
And so they usually have a
Oh my
parade.
God.
And I could hear the fireworks from our apartment complex, and there were like, it was like extra long that night. So I was like, ooh, I got to be nosy. I was like, I'm thinking they have like some special event or what, something's going on. But it turned out that that Monday, with peak park capacity, a bunch of their underground air ventilations shut down, and almost 70% of the rides were closed for like a good three
Oh,
hours. And
on a
really
really busy day
on
too.
a really busy day
Yikes.
with you have VIP celebrities there, like, oh my goodness. But so cute. All the cast members stood
Sucks.
outside of their attractions and were reenacting the attractions so that you can have something to do. So there were people like redoing the pirate
I saw a video of
scenes.
pirates. Yeah,
Yeah, they're doing
cute.
Jungle Cruise. So fun. I love it. They came up with something, so that's nice.
I love that. I love that they do that kind of stuff. It's so fun. Um, all right, so what else? Photography has become one of my favorite things to do now is like getting really cool photos because I can just like, I don't feel any rush ever. So just take time, get some really good photos going. I started sharing some of those on the page. Um,
Yeah, I like
how
doing
about you? What else are
the photos too. I'm spending more time just looking at details,
Mhm.
especially shops. There's like so many details in the shops if you just like look up and around. And like half the time I'll take a picture or video and I'm like, I bet people don't even know where this is because it's such an obscure thing. And then at the resorts here at Disney World, which I love to explore, so photogenic. Like right now, the weather's been beautiful. The sunsets are like amazing. It's just like, what? I'm pinching myself. Like I just walk around and do this. But yeah, a lot of good pictures, a lot of good videos, a lot of good ways to look at things that I hadn't before when I'm like on vacation.
right? What else? Do you have anything? I'm going to tell you a little bit more about something Anaheim related, but do you have anything else about in the park
In the
you want to
parks.
share?
I would say I'm doing a lot of the remote work, which we talked about. I was like, okay, we're gonna remote work if we can. And luckily with my job, I can work remote. So I've been doing a lot at Epcot and Connections Cafe, aka Starbucks, is the best. It just feels like a premium Starbucks experience. And then you can look out the window and Spaceship Earth's right there. And then you can go and ride Figment or Cosmic Rewind on your break if you want to take some time for yourself. It also makes me wake up early. And you know me, I hate waking up. But now I'm like, oh, I'm gonna set my alarm for 6:55 just
What?
so I could.
What? Hold on. Are you serious?
Well, I don't stay awake, but I wake up to get
Oh,
my virtual
the
queue for Cosmic Rewind. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be an Epcot day. Oh, okay, so then I'll get my virtual queue, and then I
I'm
do
still
get so
surprised.
excited though that I haven't been able to go back to sleep. But the plan is I'm supposed to go back to sleep. So there's another plus. It also just overall my mental health just feels better. I just feel like less um anxiety, like less depression. You know, sometimes we talk about mental health on these episodes, but it really changes the way I feel knowing that just the parks are right there and then actually entering them just for a few hours. It just, life changing.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I'm feeling all the same things. It's actually like I don't want to like hype it up too much, but it's better than I had expected.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
I
I
agree
thought
with
it
you.
was just gonna be cool. Like, okay, cool. I get to live by Disneyland. Yay, like awesome. Um, but then I'll still have to do all the regular stuff I have to do in life. And like I am doing all of the above. However, there is this extra layer of just like I'm just like in this like wonder and awe all the time. I'm like, like this is
Yes.
great. And
It
I'm
makes
just
the
stuck in
regular
it.
stuff so much more magical.
Yeah,
So, for
yeah.
example, the drive that the GPS usually takes me when I go to like Magic Kingdom or any of those resorts there, I don't even need to take a highway, a freeway, or a toll. It's just roads, and it goes through this gorgeous neighborhood called Independence, and it feels like I'm in like Walt Disney's Celebration of America. Like it's what we love about like July 4th and stuff. This whole neighborhood is that like 24/7. There's like these giant monuments with torches on it, like fire. Like it looks like Washington, D.C. There's like a long grass strip and all these lakes. I get to just drive by that every day and then it takes me right into Floridian Way. So I immediately see the back of Space Mountain and the back of Mark with the rivers of America, I could see all the trees and the berm, and it's like, what? I'm driving by this, and then the next thing you know, you're already at Grand Floridian or Polynesian, and then whenever I come back home from Walt Disney World, it takes me to this path that I used to think you were not allowed to go on anytime we were in an Uber. There's this road that goes past TTC. It goes toward the Contemporary in Magic Kingdom, but it's like a narrow two-lane road, and I always feel like, oop, someone's gonna tell us to turn around. We're not allowed to go over here. But it's just a regular road that you need to access to get through to where I live. And I go through that almost every day. Literally, Space Mountain is closer to the car than it is even when you're like walking in the park. Because it's like right up on the
Yeah,
edge, and I see it. Like
right.
I'm like,
I remember
what?
driving by that before with you. Yeah.
Why is it there? This is nuts. And then you could see Tron now, and then a lot of like cast member stuff. We love those backstaging. Like I could see Disney University's building there for their learning stuff. Oh wow, it just keeps getting cooler and cooler to do regular
Yeah.
things.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that said, too, like that day I got stuck in all the traffic and stuff and realized there was like the Black History Parade going on. And I'm like, oh, wait, like Anaheim is a whole vibe. Like they do stuff here. Like for some reason in my head, I've always looked at Anaheim as like a Fremont that happens to have Disneyland in it, like a suburb that happens to have Disneyland there, right? It doesn't seem like more than that, but there's like a whole nightlife here. There's a downtown area. Like there's a lot of things going on. There's this whole community thing. They shut down this whole area for Halloween and have a Halloween parade. Like I'm like actually
That's
really
so
excited to just do
cool.
Anaheim stuff. Like
Yeah.
I I can't wait to explore. I've gone to so many new restaurants. Like there's just so much cool stuff here to do that's not even just Disneyland. So it's like you can always have things to do. I don't know. It's just like it's not going to get old. And like that kind of feeling I had where I'm like, what am I going to do with people who visit me that aren't Disney people, right? I was like, I'm probably going to take them to Disneyland, right? Because I'm sure that's part of the bargain anytime anybody hangs out with me anyway. but but also like there's a million things to take them to here that's not Disney. So it's just like I don't know. It's really cool, and I'm really excited to become like part of this community here too.
Yay,
Oh,
Anaheim.
yay, Anaheim! I know I'm really actually really
And it's
excited,
like,
and like
our people live in these areas. So, and we like to do things and we like experiences and immersive things and live stuff and performances. So it kind of makes sense. I'm getting it now. It's pretty cool.
right, yeah. And like the thing you're saying about people and or like there are type of people, I think I may have mentioned this on the last time we spoke on here or not, but they like our Wi-Fi, you can see everyone's Wi-Fi in the building, like
Yeah,
other people's Wi-Fi. There's like a couple of Disney ones on there. There's like one I remember it says it's great big beautiful tomorrow. And I'm just like, who are you? And can we be friends? Right. Like that's like what I
that's
go
so
to
cool.
immediately. And people decorate on their doors here. Like they have this little thing. It reminds me of like the fish extender thing. Everybody
Oh,
like puts little
that's so
decorations out and
cool.
there's a lot of Disney ones. I'm just like, this is so freaking cute. Also Anaheim has its own mascot. It's called the Anaheim Ant, and it's
Oh,
designed by Kevin and Jody, who are like Disney designers. So it's like, what? Like, I don't
that's
know. It's
so
just
cute.
like,
An ant
it's
like the
too
bug?
cool.
Like
Yeah, it's
Flick.
a little
Oh,
ant.
that's so
I'll
cute.
show you.
I've
It's
been
very
playing
cute.
this side note, this ant game on PlayStation, and it's so relaxing. You're basically an ant, just like having to walk around and like do certain things. It's one of those like
Interesting.
hypnotic
Okay.
games. Really nice. Anyways, go Anaheim Ant.
Anaheim Ant, yes. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, well, two more things, but one is the reservation system. So here is now where I'm landing into how do locals do this, right? Because two things. One is reservations aren't always available. And this is a big difference between Disneyland and Disney World. Because I'm sure this is why Disneyland, everybody knows, is much more of an annual pass holder park than, or Magic
Yeah,
Key Park,
definitely.
whatever, than Disney World is. However, it sucks because like sometimes you can't be spontaneous. You kind of have to like really plan ahead. In
Yeah.
Disney World, for all of you that don't know, it's after 1 p.m. or 11
It's
a.m. or
they
something.
just keep relaxing the rules more and more. So not
What
only
is
can
the
you
like
just
everyday one though? Isn't there one that's like every day after a certain time you don't need a
after I think
reservation?
one or two, which we always go late anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Supposedly you can just go in. Now, I was talking to some other locals, shout out to Sarah, and we were saying we still both reserve it anyways. And then they have these things called good to go days, which are almost every weekday, which means you don't need a reservation at all, even in the morning. But we still do it because we just don't trust the system.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't trust
blame
the
you there.
system. I don't trust the cast members at the gate. I just want to know that I'm driving over there and I can get in. But to
I
your
don't
point,
blame you at all.
yeah, the policies are very much more relaxed than Disneyland and easier to be spontaneous. And you have four parks to choose from. The only one that ever normally would get full is Magic Kingdom, like during peak season. But otherwise, it's pretty easy.
Right. Yeah, I haven't I had the problem one time and it was before I even moved here. It was like a Wednesday night and I didn't think I was going to be in the mood to go to Disneyland because it was like I was only there for one night and I flew in, I was tired and then I just got like hyped up and I'm like, let's I want to go to Disneyland and then I couldn't. It was blocked or it was full, right? Sold out. So I was like, dang it, I can't go. So it hit me then. I haven't had that problem since. There have been days that have been sold out. They always release the day before. So like it's and that's what everyone's telling me when I'm talking to locals. Are like, it might look like that, but it's like it always opens up the night before. I'm like, okay. But I haven't had the problem. We'll see how it goes. However, I'm running into another issue. The weekends get booked up pretty quickly, right?
Oh,
Like if you look at the Disneyland calendar for even I have the highest one, I upgraded my pass. Even for the highest one, it'll be booked out for like 3 weekends straight, like Saturday and Sunday, sometimes even Friday. So like
is
I feel I
DCA
have to
also
lock
usually
those in.
booked or just Disneyland
Hmm.
side?
Both
Dang. I'm picturing that
completely
little
like you
blue
can't go.
castle and the little wheel icon. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yep. Both gone.
Damn.
And so it's tough because it makes you like book ahead. And that's what again, this is what everybody's doing. So we're all
Yeah.
in this like, destructive wheel or whatever. But um what I've noticed with that is that I now am maxing out my 6 reservations. So I'm on this other problem now where
Wow.
there's all this stuff I want to do. I have Adventureland Day, Tiki Day, um, the grand opening of Season of the Force, May the 4th. Like there's all these days, and then there's people coming into town that I want to make sure I can go to Disneyland with them, right? So like
Wow.
I already have all 6 of mine booked out, and if I kept them, I can't go for the rest of this month because I already have 6 days locked down that are on weekends,
Wow.
right?
You'd have
So
to
it's like
like
you have to
trade one
really,
for a spontaneous day if it's even available. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
That is
So it's
stressful.
getting tough. So I gave up my Tuesday and Wednesday ones because weekdays are almost always open. I haven't seen the only time I ever saw that was at one time. Weekends are the ones. So I'm saving all the weekend ones and then the weekday ones, I'm like, gotta lock that in. But as soon as May 16th comes around, I get to book that up as quick as possible. So then probably back up to 6 by then. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's just this
Wow.
really interesting thing that makes it pretty difficult in comparison to Disney World.
Yeah.
However, I'm not hearing any of the locals complaining about it. It's just me. So I'm like trying to adjust and see like how to do it correctly. Because if they're not complaining about it, then it's probably not a problem. But I feel like it is.
Yeah, it sounds like one, but I trust that you'll figure it out. Figure it out the local way. The other difference between the two coasts is you guys have penalties. I found out Disney World does not have penalties. They're just like, oh, you didn't show up. Okay, next time can
They're
you
doing
maybe
this
cancel
weird
it?
thing here too now where they're like, people are like they're emailing people letting them know that they aren't getting penalized for it. I'm like, why are they even like what? It's just
Oh,
weird. I don't get it.
hopefully
It's been like
maybe
a
they'll
whole
start
big thing lately. I don't know
relaxing
why
over
they're
there
doing it.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they are. I don't know. But it's just like hecka weird. I'm like, okay. Maybe if they were like up to the third one or something, they'd be like, okay, we're gonna let you have a freebie because we don't want to get you blocked out. But they're just like randomly letting a bunch of people off. People keep talking about it online.
Wow.
I haven't done it yet, so I don't know how it looks like.
Oh,
But
speaking of penalties, maybe not. I have a hack, but I don't really want to share it.
oh good, you could tell me offline.
Our listeners are like, what is the hack? Okay. This is not really
What
that
is
much
it?
of a hack. Because I think we've done it before together, but I'm doing it a lot now. So I'm going to start with telling you what I think I, as a Disney Vacation Club member, we have privileges, right? So this is one of the times where I could say, yeah, there's a privilege and I freaking pay up the butt for it. So I want to get it. And one of those privileges is that you could park at any deluxe resort that has DVC, which is every single one of them. And you can park there, you can pool hop, you can go shopping there. You don't need to have a hotel reservation. Now, they paused that for the pandemic. It is now 2025. It's 5 years
Right.
since the beginning of that. They haven't reinstated it. They still have the temporary signage outside that says, due to blah, 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 only guests with reservations can park here. And so I'm telling you that part first because I do think that I deserve to park there. So there. Now the hack is you just do the Disney dining reservation. So you do an ADR for a restaurant at that resort, and then you drive in and you freaking cancel it after you get your nice parking spot. And there, I haven't once shown up there and there's like no parking. There's plenty of spaces,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, come on, guys. Um, but I made the mistake of missing the 2 hour window by like maybe 10 minutes, which means you have to call. You and I had to do that once when we tried this hack. You had to like
Yeah.
call. Oh my goodness, they make it such a Hasselhoff. And then she's like, it's a $10 fee. And I said, I know, but I'm not hungry for that right now. And I have a reservation for somewhere else later tonight. And I wasn't lying. She saw that I had sci-fi drive-through because my whole plan was after work to go to Riviera, park there, get a coffee because I really love their cafe at Riviera, and it's just a beautiful resort to walk around. And then I wanted to take the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios and then have dinner at Sci-Fi. So I had to book that fake dinner at Topolino's. I think we even did that together before. And
Yep. It's always
the
Topolino's. I'm
it
surprised
does
they have so much availability.
right? It's too expensive. Nobody wants to pay that. The
Yeah.
thing is, yeah, I don't feel bad at all because they really sold that. And I know you were with me during, I think, multiple Disney Vacation Club tours before I bought into the membership. And they really sell you on all these perks. They say the pool hopping, they say you can go to any resort, blah, blah, blah. So look, I'm just getting what I think I deserve. And that's
Wait,
my
so
TED
what's the
Talk.
hack for me? Or are you just telling the hack for you?
Just a hack for anybody who needs to get somewhere where they won't allow you in. They always have to allow you in
Got
for an
you.
ADR into a resort, and you can cancel it. And then, if they do try to threaten the penalty, they'll waive it if you just tell them.
What does that A stand for?
Advanced dining reservation.
Advanced. Got it. Got it.
Oh, the locals here use all the acronyms.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm like, what ADR? Oh, yeah, yeah, I have an ADR.
Oh my goodness. Well, I wish there was a hack for the reservation system here, but you have to have it deleted by the night before, or else you don't
Yeah. Oh, I should have
get
been upfront
penalized or
about that. This
whatever.
is definitely just a parking convenience hack, not a theme park hack.
Yeah. I was all excited. I'm like, ooh, tell me. I need to learn. Oh my gosh. Well, it is frustrating. So hopefully I will figure it out. And if anybody has any tips that are locals, please tell me because man, it's like you have to like really debate like either I don't worry about this reservation and just hope it shows up magically. I guess it's just what people, that's the only thing I can think of. It's like you just have to hope it's there. Man, I won't do it. Because if I have to go with
Ooh.
friends, I'm gonna have to make sure I get into the parks, right?
Can you get into like let's say you have your six reservations attached to very specific days, like Star Wars Day and or May the 4th, and then you cancel it so that you could use it to go in like tomorrow on a regular
Hmm.
random day. Once you go in, can you go back and get May the 4th? But
Yeah,
the fear is that it could be gone already.
right.
Ooh, God, that's
Like what I
stressful.
just did, I just canceled. I have a Tuesday booked to go with friends of mine that are in town. There's nothing else special about the day, but it's number one priority is to hang out with friends that are in town over any of these special events. So that is the highest priority for me. And but it's a Tuesday, and I haven't seen any weekdays blocked out in ages. So I'm like, it was only during like the winter time or whatever when it was like holiday season. So I'm like, okay, so I could give up that Tuesday because I wanted to book Valentine's Day, which just reopened. Like it was all blocked out, like people were
Oh.
all booked up. And as of today, right before this recording, actually, I looked again and it was both parks available. So like a bunch of reservations already released. So I grabbed it real quick, but I had to give up the one on Tuesday. And the only reason I gave up that one, even though it's top priority, is because it's a Tuesday versus a Saturday or Sunday, which all the other ones are. So ah, it's
And
tough.
they don't have good to go days where you can just go on a non-busy day. Ugh,
Nope.
no.
Yep. So
Magic key, magic key.
Key, it's totally different demographic here. It
It
just
is.
sucks. And like, how did it run before?
I
You
would
know,
just get crowded.
like
I remember back in the day,
it's still
pre-pandemic.
crowded. It does not get crowded here.
True, but
That's why I call BS on.
in before the pandemic, the crowds were always blamed on APs. So I think it's still
Right.
crowded now, but now they can say, well, we distributed it differently. But I remember like the Facebook groups before 2020, like always just talking crap about annual pass holders. And I'm like, well, if we pay for it, we want to go to the park. It's not our fault.
Yeah, it's like that's what the programs are for.
Yeah.
Also, somebody mentioned to me, they're like, I bet they're restricting, like they got all sus about Disney. Like, I bet you they're restrict or they're selling more annual passes. And now they're just restricting you on getting in, like, changing
Wow.
the lever for the day of
Yeah.
and selling more passes. But they never had any unavailable annual passes. Now it's like really hard to get an annual pass,
Wow.
right? It's only like 4 weeks out of the entire year they're even available. So it's polar opposite than that. And they're like, oh yeah, that's right. So no, you can literally buy an annual pass any day before that you wanted to and go any day you wanted
And just go. Yeah.
unless it was completely sold out, like the whole park was shut down for that,
Yeah.
just bananas, whatever. Anyways, I'm over it. Fine, fine.
I do think to the credit of theme park fans and the people who build the theme parks, usually when there's these what are those investor calls, they're always saying attendance is up, up, up like year over year. So for some reason people are even going more. There's like more people
Yeah,
crazy.
and
So they need to build more then.
I think that if right, I think that is common over most entertainment things right now, right?
Yeah.
Like after COVID, like everyone wants, or like that travel and vacation. However, did you see like Japan is offering free flights to Japan right now? And there's like, I don't get
Wow.
what's going on in the world anymore. I'm just like, okay, get me a free flight. Let's go to Tokyo. Anyway, moving on. Another thing I wanted to mention about being a local is that now we can take advantage of things like D23 events. And yes,
Yes.
D23, we love you. We know that you do events in more places than just park cities. However, they are definitely a lot more to do if you live near a Disney park, right?
Yeah.
Let's just be
And
real.
so much more than people just think of the expo. There's so much that happens if you're a D23 member and you're regionally close to one of these places.
Right. So I wanted to mention a couple that are happening and see like if you were even going to consider or what's going on with those. So there's one in Orlando, the next one, it's on the 12th.
Oh,
Was that like
today when
tomorrow?
when this podcast airs, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's Captain America Brave New World advanced screening. Did you look at that? Are you interested? Are
Okay,
you
so
going? Why wouldn't you?
this always happens with movies is they announce this like months after the tickets have gone on sale. So the hardcore fans, we already have tickets for Thursday or Friday. And so
Oh, okay.
so I didn't jump at this one. And I also am very picky. And with these ones, you can't pick your seats. You got to go line up. But I don't know.
Aw,
It's
it's
a
like my
double-edged sword
favorite.
because you probably get really cool stuff, like free
Oh
swag or a pin.
yeah.
You never know if a cast member might show up, like Anthony Mackie might show up.
Wait a second.
Um,
This is free though.
I'd rather pay $15 for my seat and just show up like 5 minutes before.
Even if you might see Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, yeah. I think part of it
Oh
is
my God.
it was this movie in particular. Like I even took a while to get my advance tickets, and they were still available, which is not a good sign. Um, but I'm only more interested in this movie over the last couple of weeks when they started showing more about what's happening. But I think if it was, oh my gosh, if it was like an event movie, like an Avengers one, I think I would go to the free thing and then go to my paid one the next day or whatever.
Yeah, that's what
Which
I was
is
thinking you would do.
that ended up happening with, guess what? Your favorite, Wicked. Stressed
Oh
me out
boy.
because I had the tickets like so far in advance. And then they announced that Amazon Prime members get to go like a week early in Orlando, and I happened to be here. So I had to like rearrange everything for that.
Oh
But
my
luckily,
gosh.
that one did go through the Fandango system, so I got to pick a seat. I don't know. I'm just, particular about certain things.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm curious to see what a D23 movie screening is like. I went to one actually. I went to Saving Mr. Banks, but it was a long time ago, and it's not the right kind of movie. I want to see like what a Marvel film feels like with all Disney holics in the building. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I'm curious to see what that looks like. So I'm gonna be probably going to those. Also, they do a bunch here at the El Capitan, which I've never been to.
Oh, those are
So I'm
good.
like,
And those are even the non D23 ones
yeah,
are just a cool way to watch a Disney studio movie. And then
yeah.
I'm still watching Captain America in Disney Springs on opening days. So I'm also expecting it to be fun just because there'll be a lot of Disney people there and fans.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we have to report back on what that looks like. And then there is an event coming up in Glendale. So over here on my turf, Glendale on the 22nd called D23 Spotlight Series and Walt Disney Imagineering, The Making of Indiana Jones Adventure. So
Yeah.
this one I did jump on and get tickets to. I'm like so excited for it. Thank you. Shout out to Joy. Um, I hadn't seen it and she messaged me about it because she saw it. I grabbed the tickets and it was sold out like right away
Wow.
afterwards. So like,
I
oh
do
my
I
God,
do
I
need
got
to
in
get
there.
better at paying attention to these now that we're locals because
Right. I like
I
went and fixed
normally
all my
don't.
notifications in my email. I was like, D23 has to be like alerting me in every
Ooh, that's
aspect.
smart. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
That one sounds
Um,
really cool. That one I'm jealous of because Indiana Jones Adventure is still one of the coolest rides attractions ever created. It was immersive. It was during our time in the 90s,
right.
nostalgia. So that's going to be a good
Movie
one.
was, or that show was, or goddamn, not a movie or a show. The ride was so ahead of its time,
He's so ahead
right?
of its
Like,
time. Yeah.
so good. So this is what this event will include, and I'm gonna cover it after I go, but it says a special presentation about Indiana Jones attraction throughout Disney parks. So all of the different Indiana
Oh.
Jones, featuring Walt Disney Imagineer. Uh, what's his first name? Like. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's like Like. How do you pronounce that name? Like?
Like?
Yeah.
No idea.
Like Daniel Jue, and former Imagineers Susan Bonds at the historic Grand Central Air Terminal in Glendale. If any of you have
Ooh.
like gone on any of these Imagineering tours or taken like the Bob Greer bus tour, like you've gone to this Grand Central Air Terminal, but I've never gotten to go in it. So this is like the OG Imagineering, like super old school. So it starts you there. And then it says a rare walkthrough experience of Walt Disney Imagineering. I don't know what the heck that means, but we get
Ooh.
some rare walkthrough experience, which is cool. Then they also take you over to the current Walt Disney Imagineering campus and let you shop at Mickey's of Glendale.
Wow.
Um, right? And then you get a special commemorative gift, which you get at every D23 event. Um, this is hilarious that they have its own bullet point for this. Starbucks will be available for purchase at the Walt Disney
Oh,
Imagineering location.
okay.
And then entry into Visitor Center at the Grand Central Air Terminal featuring historic exhibits curated by Walt Disney Imagineering. So it's like, it's a pretty cool day. It's like you get to do a lot of stuff. It's 4 hours long in total. Um, so I'm really excited for that one. And I hope they start. I guess this is their very first of the Spotlight series. It's brand new that they
Ooh.
started doing this. So we moved at a perfect time because they're going to start knocking these out. And to follow that up, there was one that popped up that you actually missed, right? Because of this not having our D23 notifications up.
Right?
but there's one coming up in Disney World called Disney Spotlight Series and Walt Disney Imagineering presents Space Mountain and Beyond. This is
Oh,
on March
yeah.
8th, and it's at the AMC Dine-In Disney,
Yeah, that's the
which is
same
interesting.
place where Captain America is happening. And
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
I was really mad that I missed that one because going back to it, that sounds like a comfortable way to watch a panel at the reclining seats of the AMC.
Yeah, right? Totally. It's like taking little pieces of um D23 and now we can go to them on a regular
Yeah,
cadence instead. So super cool. This is just like one of those things that I realize now that I get to do as a Disney local, which is just so fun. These
so
are always
fun.
things that would pop up. I'm like, oh my God, can I make it work? I have to buy a flight and hotel. Like, can I get out there and take work off? And like, it's all these things that now is just like a regular Friday night. So
Speaking of, a little mouse told me that you might not be able to come to Destination D23 here in Orlando for the first time. We've never been together. We've never been at all.
I know.
And
So,
last year I didn't go with you to the expo. Ugh,
it's revenge. It's
revenge.
not. It's not even revenge because I actually really want to
I
go.
know, I know.
Um, there's two things that we had planned that my work is blocking, but I like, work is work.
We got to get
And
that paper
while
so
my
we
job
could
is
support our Disney addiction.
exactly, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's certain things that you can't skip, and these are two of those occasions that just happen to land right on
Dang.
top of other things. It sucks.
Well, that
So,
one is
no,
in it's August 29th through 31st here in Orlando at the Coronado Resort.
I am going to double check. I'm hoping that I'm wrong on the timing. And because I'm thinking, I'm like, I bet you Friday should be a travel day, usually, right? For companies. So, like, because it's a week-long event, I'm assuming travel is Friday, and maybe the big party is Thursday night instead of Friday night. If that's the case, I'm doing the big party and flying out in the morning, going to
Yeah.
Destination D23.
Or even like the latest flight out, depending on what they have.
Yeah, like whatever
Red eye.
works, like red eye, whatever. Like I will definitely do it if I can. But if I miss that whole first day, I'm probably not gonna come. But yeah, well, that's even rough because if it starts all day Friday, yeah, I would still miss some
Oh.
of it. It's okay. I would be willing to miss some of Friday in order to get there for the whole
Now,
rest
you
of
know
it.
what you
But
didn't miss? Didn't you just recently go to a D23 local event?
yes. So this past weekend, I actually got to go to my first D23 event down here in SoCal. And this was so cool because this place that this one was at has been on my list for a few years. I just found out about it maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. And I just felt like this place was such a weird, quirky place to visit that I just had to go there. And then out of nowhere, right when I moved here, D23 announces a curated event at this place, and it's called Bob Baker's Marionette Theater. So this is a puppet show place in Highland Park of LA. I don't know what that means yet. It's a very cute neighborhood. Um, but it's in Los Angeles somewhere, like an hour north of here. I still don't know my way around at all. And um it's a puppet show, but it's like from the 60s. They've been running it since the 60s, so it's like weird. There's just something about it that's a little weird. So I was so excited. I'm like, heck yeah. It said in the advertisement, it's like now is a great time to be a Disney fan and D23 member. Um, D23 has the received an invite to Bob Baker's Marionette Show for a special curated event for Disney. And it says the special show celebrates monumental anniversaries for your favorite Disney classic movies.
Wow. I was looking at pictures
Yeah,
of the just the theater itself without the Disney connection, and it's frightening, but in a cool way that we love, like old, weird, vintage. Like there's a cake
totally.
with eyeballs on it. They remind me of in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he had these puppets sometimes that would come up, and they were just like weird looking. They
Yeah,
just look,
yeah, totally. Those
yeah.
exact puppets, I bet, are there. They probably made them or
Yeah.
something.
And they almost look like they have a soul, each one somehow.
Yeah,
like
like they're
Puppet
gonna come to
Master or
life
something.
after we walk
Yeah.
out of there, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah, so I went to the show with my friend Jay Lass. Shout out to Jay Lass.
What's up, Jay Lass?
Um, he accompanied me there. We had tons of fun. We went to this really amazing Italian deli right down the street. Or so good. And then went to the show. And the show was like everything that I had expected, but cooler because it just like I pictured it like smaller, for instance, and I got into the puppet room or whatever, and it's like this really pretty like theater, but kitschy as all hell, and like very Mary Blair meets like the red theater curtains. Like they have these like stars hanging everywhere. They're like very mid-century modern and like that Mary
I took a
Blair palette
screenshot
looking.
of Jay Lass's story because I want to take those diamonds and put them in my house.
Yes,
I
I'm
really
obsessed with
love
them.
the
We were
aesthetic.
both like
Yeah.
filming them the whole time.
It was
Yep,
so cool looking.
they're super, super cute. And turns out they had done some work with Disney in the past. So like they made the puppets from Escape to Witch Mountain, for instance, and they brought them out. We got to see them.
Oh,
So
okay.
what the coolest part about this was it started off with a little bit of a history lesson. So they came and they talked about Bob Baker's experience of like working with Disney in the past and like how he always wanted to work at Disney since he's a kid. Um, and then like the experience of what he's done with Disney throughout the years and what the studio has continued to do to like incorporate each
Oh,
other. And then we saw the show, which was not Disney at all. I thought they're gonna have like the actual puppet show was gonna be Disney. It wasn't at all, but it was perfect. It was just weird, like fever dream meets whimsical fantasy. It's like just
wow.
like the weirdest thing to the point where I was like catching my face like with the what the fuck face, like what is going on, or like a little creeped out, but then like wanting to burst into laughter at the same time. And it's all like positive feeling. It wasn't like this is dumb. It was like this is
Yeah.
freaking weird and I
And if
love
this
it,
started in
you
the
know?
60s and 70s, like somebody had to have been on acid to make these puppets.
Yeah. And there was a lot of like musical acts and stuff from them. Um that felt like that also. Like there was this one with ghosts and they're like mostly ghostly. It was just like this weird trippy little song and they had black lights and like it's definitely it was so weird. But one of the coolest parts about this experience that they don't do regularly is they had a backstage tour after and they just let us all walk into the set
Wow.
like through the set and go back and see all the like theater panels and theater walls and all the puppets were hanging and you could go right up to them and like look at them and stuff. It was heck cool. It was very cool. And I guess their tradition there is to end the show with ice cream. So we all got ice cream at the end too. It's very cute.
Oh, I like that. That's very D23, very Disney to have the backstage and then a little treat after. Cute.
Yep, yep, totally. And it was very like I kept saying like Michael Vargo was there. I almost went over to him and told I said hi to him and like took a photo with him and stuff, but I almost told him like, can you like what's the word when you hire somebody to do something? It starts with a C. Help me. When you
Contract?
make have someone make a costume for you.
Oh,
Not a contract.
costume. I don't
You
know.
something them word. But anyways,
You
oh man, I'm gonna be so mad because I'm gonna remember it later. Shoot. I can't remember it. But I was like, can you get with this puppet place and have them make country bears because the theater itself was like the perfect size for country bears. They had one main
Oh,
stage and two side panel stages that like just like country bears have those little side stages. And if they had like little miniature puppets of the country bears, the format was the same. Like they had all these different acts and songs and they were very short and they would like allude into each other. Like they'd have a little gag at the end that would like segue into the next act. Like this is
wow.
absolutely country bears format. It'd be so cute. So that's my blue sky Bob Baker marionette that nobody asked for. But
Bob
oh
Baker. I
yeah, but
keep
it
wanting
was
to think Bob Barker from Price is Right.
I know,
Bob Baker.
totally.
That sounds like that
And they also
marionette
had a
theater could be its own iceberg. Like, who is Bob Baker and what is this marionette theater?
right
Why is it there and it's still there 50, 60, 70 years later? Love to know more about
excuse
it.
me, totally. And they had a Wurlitzer in there. I didn't even say that. They had like a
What?
pre-show Organ player.
Wow. Wow.
I went and picked his brain about organ stop pizza. You better believe I did.
Wow. He knew it. Had to have. I feel like all Wurlitzer
Yep.
players, they all know the few
Yep.
that are out there.
It was crazy. He was giving
Mhm.
me like a whole tutorial on how he plays and like how it becomes muscle memory and oh, it was nuts. But anyway, super cool. Up and close look. He like let people sit on the bench of the Wurlitzer and take photos if you wanted. Like it was like everything was very close and they let you like I don't know, it felt like trusting. I like that when they let you into their world, you know? Um, so nonetheless, a very cool D23 fan event. Um, highly recommend. Whew.
Nice.
So that was a lot. I can't wait to go to more of these and tell you guys all about all of them. So I have another one in 2 weeks to go to. I'll tell you about the Indiana Jones one.
Mm.
But I also wanted to talk just like before we wrap the episode about this last weekend because I had a really cool weekend. And I just, we love some trip reports here and there. So I just
And
wanted
there's
to
one
talk
thing in
about it.
particular I've been dying to hear from you about. I know you're going to get to Haunted Mansion
Oh,
because you've been avoiding
okay,
spoilers for
good.
so long, and I have some questions about it.
Okay, please, let's do it. Okay. So I'll do a quick trip report because I know we're pretty lengthily into this already. But Saturday, I went to the marionette show thing during the daytime, came back to the park at like 6. I got to see like 4 different groups of friends with only a few hours in between. And at one point, we had a peak of everybody meeting at the Penny Arcade on Main Street at 9:30, and we had a dance party to Mickey's Mix Magic, and it was amazing.
Oh,
Shout out to
wow, how
everybody who was there.
cute. Penny Arcade at the
Courtney,
Penny
Kelly,
Arcade.
Shouts, Lisa, Laura, everyone who was there. It was so fun. Um, and I want to start doing that. I want to like start having like a group of our friends that want to dance to Mickey's Mix Magic, like not just watch the show. Like let's have fun and let's dance.
Yeah, that's a
It's
good
made to
one
dance.
for that. Yeah.
It is.
And make
And
new
there's only
friends.
so much
Any
space on Main Street to dance.
listeners,
So
anyone who watches this, show up and dance with Jen Diz.
yes, please message me. If you see me in the park and you want to go dance on Main Street and you need a buddy, holler at your girl. I will meet you there at 9:30 and we can dance to Mickey's Mix Magic any day.
Whoop,
I
whoop.
swear I will be down. So yeah, if you see that I'm there, please feel free. So that was like Saturday, which was really, really just like a really great day. And then Sunday, we were talking about earlier, is Super Bowl Sunday. I decided, I was like, I'm just going to go there in the morning and like hang out during the daytime. What was I doing last night? Oh, Sunday. I'm sorry, not last night, Sunday night. Oh, yeah, I hung out with a friend Sunday night. Okay, so I just went during the daytime. I was going to go there for like 3 hours. I ended up staying for 6 because everything just kept flowing and it was just like so good. I did my usual park day where I like do a lot of music stuff. I watched the Disneyland Band, the Dapper Dans, a ragtime player, ride Main Street vehicles, kick it on Main Street forever. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go on Mansion because it was a pretty short line because it's Super Bowl Sunday, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Mansion real quick. So on my way over there, I saw a brand new act. So not Princess. Yes, Princess, but not I'm thinking Palace. Tiana's Palace is what it's
Ah,
called,
yeah,
right?
in New
Tiana's
Orleans. Yeah.
Place.
I still
Palace
now I'm
Place.
confused again.
Shoot, no, I can't remember. The
It's it's
restaurant, Tiana's
it's both
restaurant.
somewhere. On the ship cruise ship it's one way and then at Disneyland it's
Right.
another way.
I can't remember, but it's the one that took place of I can't
French
remember the
market?
name of the old place now. Thank you. Yes, the French Market. Um, they had redesigned along with the Haunted Mansion queue, right? They redesigned that area, and now I was very surprised to see they had opened the music stage to where it's not blocked out for people walking by it. It used to be kind of covered from the back, so it's really only entertainment for the dinner section. Now I saw they open it for everybody, which I thought was really cool. But they face outwards now. Like they put their
Oh,
backs to everybody eating. I thought it was going to be more of like a 360 thing where they're kind of incorporating everybody, but it
yeah.
was like straight up facing outwards. I thought that was just really interesting, but it was kind of cool. It makes this whole other extra area for people to watch and enjoy if you're not in there eating, right? And there's this group called Got Rhythm, and I am just like absolutely fascinated by these guys. There's like 5 guys. There's 3 people playing instruments. one guy singing and the other guy was, well, there's two guys tap dancing. And it was so cool because they kept taking breaks in their set to like teach you things. Like you learned like all this historic stuff about like dance and then also like rhythm and blues and jazz. And they like imitate Louis Armstrong and like they teach people how to tap. They like do a classic tap step and teach you. And they
Wow.
teach you like scat and like rhythms of like clapping and stuff. It was super cool. I was really into it. And then I ended up having a Disney magical moment afterwards, which I told you about earlier, Mike, but I'll tell everybody here. If anybody knows anything about swing dancing, which I know not a lot of people do, but um, I got to talking to the guy afterwards and he was like, oh, like telling me all these places I need to go to locally. And then I say, he's like, you better come back here and dance something. I'm like, only if you bust out the Frankie Manning, which is a like basically like the guy who created swing dance. Like he is like Walt Disney of swing dancing, right? So like, and
Oh, and
I
he has a
like
dance move named after him.
he has a lot of them,
Oh,
yeah. But
wow.
like, I said bust out some Frankie Manning, like just like start doing some of his moves, and he got all excited when he knew I knew something a little deeper than like just basics. And he's like, you know what? I was like, what? He goes, Frankie Manning was my teacher, my instructor, and I
No way.
lost my shit. Lost my
What?
shit. I'm like, that's like I was like, I've only gotten the closest I've ever gotten to Frankie Manning was like probably 3 degrees of him. And now he's like, now you're 1 degree. Like he was my instructor. And I
Wow.
guess he was in the Broadway show that Frankie Manning produced. So he was his instructor there. And I'm like, that is so cool. Now this guy's at freaking Disneyland teaching random tourists how to tap dance. I just thought it was hecka cool. I was like, this is like some real stuff, you know? It's not just like some gimmick. It's like real history. And I thought that was really, really cool. So I'm going to be back there watching them as often as I can. They're really, really fun. Definitely, if you see them out there, stop by. They said like the schedule's a little wonky. So he's like, I don't even think we're going to be back until next month. So I feel like they're going to be starting to roll out a bunch of different acts that are going to be over there in that area.
Oh, how
Similar to what they
exciting.
do at like Festival of Holidays and stuff, where they have different rotating groups coming through. So I think we'll see some really cool stuff. And I actually talked to a cast member at City Hall about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I think they're like basically piloting a bunch of different things for the 70th." And I was like, "Oh, that makes
Oh,
sense." So they're like trying out these like
how
acts and like
fun.
yeah, so super cool. Just an amazing day. And then, of course, I ended the day with Haunted Mansion. And now is a time for anyone to plug your ears if you don't want to hear about the updates in Haunted Mansion, because I'm going to talk about them. And not
You're the
super
only
in depth. I don't
one.
really have.
You're the only one that we're all waiting for to write
I'm
it.
like, I'm the spoiler queen. I'm like, no, exactly. So, okay, first and foremost, the Hanging Man is still there.
Yes.
Okay. So that was, I know, a big surprise to most people. Um, Rumors are that it's still going away. Who knows? Who knows? Um, but the Hanging Man was still there. And what I thought was funny was, how did he say it? They actually played a joke off about it. Like the cast member that says, like, he said, drag your bodies to the center of the room. Um, the master's been hanging around for quite some time or something like that. I can't remember what he said, but it was
Oh,
like he made a joke about it. So I was like, oh, they're even like talking about it on top of the
oh, I
fact
love
of
it. They
it
got
still being
new
there.
scripts.
Yeah. I was like, all right, all right. And then let's see. One-eyed cat. Okay. Um, talk about the like lamer things first. So the one-eyed cat was an addition that everybody made fun of because it was a Wayfair statue. Now Disney has done this a lot over in the Haunted Mansion area where they have like garden center statues from Home Depot and
Yeah.
something they ordered off of Wayfair and
AI
modified. So
art in the store.
oh my God,
Yikes.
I can't with that. Um, I like literally can't with that.
Wait,
That's a whole
so the
other topic
one-eyed
though.
cat, the last time they updated it, they added it. And I remember you telling me the
Yeah,
story about it was from the concept art. So there's another change
hmm
made to the cat that was added.
not to that cat. So they just have another one-eyed
Oh,
cat now.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and this one's pretty cute. He looks a little more like the concept art. The Wayfair statue one was like very white polished statue of this cat, and they put like a red glowing eye in. But this one looks more like a real cat, and he looks like kind of scroungy, like he's like
Oh,
a little
okay.
more alley catish than the other cat. So I like him. He's pretty cute. He's over standing by the bride that we now have.
In the attic.
So in the attic,
In the
yes.
attic.
So we also got a brand new bride. So before I even go any further, just what are you dying to ask me about her? It's got to be about
Well,
her.
because they before they reopened the ride, they revealed the new bride in that new shop. She had like her own painting. And so I guess it looks like that is what people are saying. And it's I don't know, it looks pretty different, but now when I see videos, it's the Mandela effect. Like now I don't even remember which bride was before that because it had changed also through our lifetime at least once, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now I'm confused.
Yeah. So there was like a few renditions of the original like Beating Heart Bride, they call it. Um, they weren't that big of changes. They're like they colored her face different, or she's holding a different bouquet, and it was just because of how light reflects off of it. They were making changes
Oh,
over the years, but essentially it was like a spooky, ghostly bride that's holding a bouquet of flowers, or she and one of the things she's holding like a candlestick. I can't remember if that was Disney World or here or not. It was kind of like bouncing back and forth also between those two. But we had a few different renditions of her throughout the years. But in the aughts, I guess, they switched over to Constance, which most of people are familiar with, and she's the
ah,
one with the cross-eyed, like she's
and
the one with the face, the
the
projection.
whole story about chopping the heads off.
Yes, and then that was also that changed the story a lot. So the attic scene before that also didn't have any of those sets where you see like the photos of the husbands with their heads, that go missing, her pearl necklaces. Excuse me, you don't see any of the gifts. Like none of that was a thing in the attic before her. It was all just like dark and creepy attic, very classic haunted house type of stuff, right? And along with the bride, like she was just kind of spooky and over in a corner and scary. Um, and then Constance brought in a whole storyline. So like while I didn't like her at all, but I did like the story she brought because now it's like this lengthier story, and like it's kind of cool to like see like each photo of these men, and if you don't know this, they all have different gifts near them, and you could tell that they're very themed to the type of relationship they're having. Like her husband was an explorer. It's gonna all the gifts like match that kind of vibe. And maybe one of her husbands was really fancy. Everything was like very nice china over there. Like they all
Wow.
had their different wedding gifts. So it was pretty cool. But I just couldn't stand her and like her voice track, and just it was corny. It was just too corny for me. I'm like, just leave her spooky. So now we kind of have that. We got rid of Constance as
Okay.
is. She's no longer cheesy. She's not talking. They
Is
have
she
her kind
still
of over to the
Constance,
side a little bit.
the killer of the husbands, or is it
I
just a new?
don't know. She's no
Wow.
longer holding an axe.
Oh, okay. That's
And
a
this is the
signal.
thing, I haven't gotten to look into this yet. I need to like deep dive into like what's the new story, because I guarantee there is one. Like
What
I
about the
can't
rest of
imagine
the set
Imagineering not having a
that you just
story.
described? Is that all still there? The pictures
It's
and
the
the.
same. So they still have all the photos.
Oh,
They still have the
huh.
gifts.
I thought they were changing all of
Um,
that.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they have the bride over there now, and she looks really cool. However, I just can't I look at her and I just don't really feel anything.
Okay.
I don't know how else to explain it.
What do you want to feel?
I want to either be like, whoa, that's hella scary or super cool, or like, I don't know, I want to feel something exciting. She's got the beating heart back, which I like, and she's definitely spooky. She
Okay.
looks like uh what's the word that CFO Michelle kept using?
Opulence? I don't know.
Ethereal or something,
Ethereal, yeah, yeah.
like a
Like a
spooky version of
banshee
that. Like
type
she's
of thing.
just like she's floating. It's definitely like a some kind of cool effect that looks like she's floating, and she's
Does it
like
look too
kind of
modern? That was my fear that it would look too
Um,
modern, but
I wouldn't, I don't know. Maybe I can tell it's just like CGI, which is what bothers me. So I guess so.
okay, so it's like
Yeah.
projection face type of thing.
There's nothing there. It's like a, I'm pretty sure it's
What?
a, what's a Tupac thing?
A hologram?
I think it's a hologram.
Wow,
I
so there's
think.
no statue or
There's no
body.
statue.
Okay, I didn't
Right.
know it was this extreme of a change. I
I
also
think. I've
I
been on it
also
like three
don't
times and I
know
just stare at her.
I, I don't even know what what I want as a Haunted Mansion fan, and you're a hardcore fan. But I remember when I was a kid, I remember the old one, which is like the beating heart. It looked cheap to me. Even as a kid, I thought it looked cheap. But now looking back, I liked that because it was like the old haunted house rides, like in the fairs or whatever.
Yeah,
So
like
it's like
spooky and
we just they never win. Poor things, poor
I
Imagineers.
know, and that's exactly what I was thinking. Like I thought exactly what you just asked me after I saw her, and I'm like, I don't. My friend said, "What do you think?" And I was like, I don't know. Like I just felt pretty much nothing. I looked and I made sure I'm like, okay, is her heart beating? Her heart's beating, and you could hear it. They definitely amplified it in the room. The heart beating is very loud in the attic now.
Oh, okay.
Um, but she's just kind of staring off into the distance. Like she's not looking at you. She's looking like above you and to the side, and her mouth is like slightly open, and she's just kind of like, I'm like, what's happening? I don't know. Like it's just something about it didn't hit entirely for me. So I feel like I need to know a little more. Like, is there more to her? But then it's right. It's like, what do I want then? I don't know. I like
Yeah.
the fact that she's a spooky bride again and we don't need all this stupid dialogue. I didn't like that. Um, but like, how can they do that and
Ah.
make it look cool
Okay, I'm excited to
without
write
it
it
being like
now
this?
and
Yeah, I think it's
and
cool. And the
see it.
cat's right next to her, which is cute. So I'm okay with it. I'm not mad at it. I just like feel like it's missing something. I feel like I'm missing something, honestly. So I might be. I haven't watched any of the YouTubes or people talking about nothing yet. So like I need to do that now. Um,
What else did they change on during this refurb refresh?
so there's only one other thing that I noticed that was different, and I don't get why they did it. First off, if there's anybody out there that knows the answer to this, please let me know. In the endless hallway scene with the candelabra floating, right?
Yeah.
Every so often you can see it reflecting in the mirror, which ruins the effect, right? Like completely dissolves the effect. You're supposed to not be able to see it double because you're not supposed to think it's a mirror,
I think in
right?
my mind I just thought there was just like a whole bunch floating in the hallway. I never thought about it. Now that I'm picturing it, I'm like, oh yeah, sometimes it is a double, right? Like double vision.
Yeah, and the way to fix it, from what I've heard and what makes sense, like logically, is that you paint the back of the candelabra black so that it doesn't reflect.
Oh,
But
okay, yeah.
like it's like so not black right now. You can like see it doubled pretty easily, which was bothering me. Is it kind of one of the worst versions that I've seen? But then at the end, there used to be this, it was like a mausoleum, and you could see like death in it, like the cloak. You remember
Wait,
that?
stop. The Phantom.
The
Okay,
phantom
don't tell me they changed that.
is gone,
No. That's
gone.
one of my
And
favorite
now in
things
its
to point
place,
at and get creeped out about every
so
time.
they still have it probably in Disney World with the hidden Mickey in its hand, right?
Okay, fair enough.
But it's gone at Disneyland, and now in its place is a floating candelabra. So now we have another
What?
candelabra. I don't understand why, like what the deal is with that at all. But
Oh, I really like that Phantom thing because it was so nondescript. And so your imagination can just be like, what is that
it's like
floating
kind
in
of
there?
dark, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What? That's random that they changed that.
It is very random. Oh, another thing I noticed, I think this is from the most recent update, but the ghosts are way cooler that are flying on the scrim. Like you can see them
Oh.
much better and they look more detailed than before. So um I
So
don't know for sure
the
if that was
one
this
thing
update
that
or the
I've
last one.
been waiting to hear from you about wasn't even the bride. It was the change to the ballroom special effect glass. Tell us what has changed. I'm shocked if it's
Not
true.
a damn thing.
Wait, I was gonna say, do you see I said if it's true? Wait, so people on the internet are saying that they took away the spider that used to cover the bullet hole. That was an actual bullet hole that somebody shot through the glass way back in the day on the ride, right?
Yeah, it was like in the 70s or something. Someone shot a BB gun and it cracked the glass. And some brilliant person was like, let's just stick a spider over it instead of because it's like the Yeti problem. They would have to rip the entire roof off the Haunted Mansion show building and replace this massive pane of glass for this little crack in the glass, right? They're not they would never do that. It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Like you know how much money that would cost and how long the ride would have to go down to do that? Like, it's not going to happen. And so, for some reason, within the last year, I've heard so many people saying this freaking spider is gone. It is not. I can see it very clearly during, I will say during regular mansion, not nightmare or holiday. It is harder to see because it's not as brightly lit in that area, but
Okay.
it's there. It's totally there. You just have
So
to know where to
people
look.
might be, they rode the holiday one last year, and then now they rode the newly opened regular one, and they're like thinking it's gone, but it's there.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I could always see
That
it
was
anyway, but
that was
like,
stressing me out because I love telling people that. Like that's
I know
a fun,
somebody
fun
said that too. They
fact.
are
Yeah.
so mad. That was like my favorite thing to tell people about. I'm like, oh no, it's still there. I
It's
promise you, just
still
go look.
there. Okay, good, good. I'm glad.
But there's a lot of people, like big influencers, all saying like, "Oh my God,
Yeah,
urgent! Like breaking news: a spider's gone." I was like, I just saw it yesterday, and so I went back on it again, and I'm like, it's right there.
good. I'm
So
glad.
people are tripping, and like I think maybe they. I wonder if like they changed it a little bit, like maybe they put a smaller spider on or something, because it is harder to see that I feel in normal. So maybe it did change, but it's
Okay.
they didn't
But
change
but
the
they didn't fix
glass.
the bullet hole. That's the point. Yeah.
No, definitely not. There's still something on it. Pretty sure it's a spider. But yeah, people are just crazy with that thing. I don't know.
No.
Um, anyway, and then lastly, I went into the store finally. That first time that I got down here and went, it was flooded out from the rain.
Oh
So
yeah.
it was
I
shut
heard
down.
about that.
So I finally got to go to the store. Totally agree with what everybody's saying. I know it's not like it's very home goods or
Home
not home goods,
goods.
but Hobby Lobby.
Hobby
Like
Lobby, they bought the prefabricated I was gonna say tent. What is it called? Shed from like
shed,
Lowe's or
yeah.
something. Like, what are you thinking? And from what I've seen, like it blocks the some of the cool views from Haunted Mansion and then
Yeah.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Very strange.
It is very strange. And there's another couple things. They have some Ouija boards in there, which I thought was
Ooh.
interesting. I thought that was like a little risky of
That's
Disney
scary. I don't
to
like
put
Ouija
Ouija boards in
boards.
there.
Ooh.
And then some of the cool things that aren't prefabricated and definitely not like AI because they're done correctly are these giant display cabinets that they hang shirts in or whatever. And they're like the big like made out of like the monster faces that you'll see in the mansion and stuff, like around the
Ooh.
doorways and stuff like that. So they do
Okay.
have some really cool fixtures in there, but overall, like, I don't know, it's just something about it looks like kind of kitschy in there and it's not super cute. Upstairs, they have this loft area, and I'm like, there's got to be a whole story for that too. So I need to figure that out. But one thing they have like an wicker umbrella chair, and it's kind of cool because like everyone says umbrella chairs is like where the inspiration for dune buggies came, right? So
Oh, that's like the
like
one
they're like, oh,
Morticia
these
Adams
Victorian.
sits in Adams Family.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Yep. And they have this giant plushy cat in the umbrella chair. And it's like a
Oh.
tuxedo cat. It's not like the one-eyed cat at all. It's just like a big ass stuffed animal cat upstairs. And I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, what's the story? Please let there be a story and not just some
I
random
know. I
clearance
asked two
item.
cast members and they're like, I don't know, like they didn't care. So I need to find like the one that really gives a shit and like find
Yeah.
out all the details on that place because it's kind of weird and I want to know more. So not the best place, but I feel like if they just zhuzhed it up a little bit with some like fandom, people will get really excited about it.
Yeah, just put a little bit more details. I mean, you can't fix the outside, it's already there, but at least the inside.
Right. Totally.
So I don't really have a trip report, but I did want to call out something funny that happened when I was at Epcot here over at Disney World, and I was in the France section. Earlier we're talking about like these details when you're taking pictures and videos now that we're locals. And I swear I've never noticed this before, but there's this French lady inside one of the merchandise windows. She's full size, like full, what's the word? Life
Well
size.
figured.
Act
Oh. I was like, yes, queen.
No, so let me actually describe her for everybody listening and watching YouTube. I'm just gonna describe her. She's an all white lady. She got sunglasses on. She has like little things dangling from the sunglasses. She has a brooch in her gray hair, which is in an updo. She's fabulous, like peacock earrings, this really nice looking vintage wool cardigan dress with purple blouse, tons of necklaces, golds and chains, bracelets, and then she's holding this massive glass of red wine. And she's just like hanging out there. And she reminds me of someone like I would see in the Upper East Side of New York or something. But this is
Wait, what
France,
is she,
so
a
she's supposed to
painting?
be French. No, she's a full-on. So this is a new. The reason why I was so excited about it, she's a new. What's the word? What do we call the lady? Oh my God, I'm
Is she
spacing
an
out.
NPC?
She's like an NP. No, the one from the movie theater that we always like to see. What's her name?
Oh, Tilly.
Tilly. She's another Tilly. She's a like
Oh,
full-on
okay.
being. I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe it. Mannequin, I guess.
Statue. Okay, mannequin.
And she's really lifelike. And I'm just like, what? Was this here the whole time? Because I guess we just run by and go to that pastry shop or the ice cream place. And I was just obsessed with her. I was there for like 20 minutes just looking at every detail of her. She's like sitting in this chair. She has her legs crossed. And then around her there's all these like marble busts and like blank canvases and stuff. So she's maybe an artiste. I don't know. I just love her so much and I want to know much more about her. But I asked our Instagram followers to name her
Oh my
and
God, I love it.
we got some really good ones. So uh Two people, two people said Sylvia, which is just a random because it's
Oh,
just a regular name. So we have two Sylvias there. Um, oh, our friend FIFA had a really good one. Madame Delacroix. Love that. French.
Madame Delacroix. I
And then
love
we had
it.
another Madame, shout out to Lahine11, said Madame Marguerite with a peacock emoji
Oh,
and a champagne toast. And
love
by the
it.
way,
Love
shout out
it.
to the two Sylvias were our friend of the show, Stacy, Mrs. Pickles, and then also Natty Shea said Sylvia as well. Another friend of the show, Jess Quo, said she looks like a Rhoda.
Oh,
Rhoda, okay,
okay.
I could see that.
Rhoda.
And then my favorite one of all, because it makes no sense, is from our good friend Scott, Disneyland nurse. He said her name is Remy.
Oh no.
And we all know that's his favorite movie, I think, Pixar
Don't
movie.
give him that, Mike.
Favorite
Don't give him
ride.
that.
But you know what? I had posted
Scott,
shortly
get out
before
of
that.
here.
I said, "Oop, Remy Ratatouille Adventure is the worst ride at Epcot. Maybe one of the worst rides at Disney World." And I don't think he liked it, but shout out to Scott. We know you love that ride and it's all in good fun. But yes, next time you come here, I'm going to take you to Miss, well, she has so many names now, to
Yes, I
Miss
have to
Sylvia,
be.
Madame Delacroix Marguerite.
I'm gonna go with yes. Yeah, let's make a whole long name for her. It'd be great.
She's fabulous. And like that's
Is
another
she
like
in
deep
a
cut.
like a store window or like where is
She's
she
in a store
like
window.
located?
Yeah. Like next to it's part of like the perfumery when you're walking through the back alley of France.
Oh, okay.
It's just so weird.
I love
And
her already and I haven't even met her.
she's amazing. Like that's a cool deep cut to like dress as. Nobody would know and you'd have to explain
Oh
it.
yeah. I love these
Amazing.
NPC. I need to get a group together and do cosplays of all the Disney parks NPCs.
Yes.
Do it. I love it.
Yeah. So that was my
Oh my
little
gosh.
afternoon in France at Epcot.
That's very cute. Those details are the best parts of Disney,
So
right?
good.
Like it's just they're so fun. I always visit Tilly every time I go by to check out what new things she's got going on.
I love
So
Tilly and I
Madame
love
Delacroix.
Tilly has a
Rhoda.
cousin at Spaceship Earth. So there's a scene where you go through the communication days of the theaters when they're when you and there's a Tilly cousin that she's also in a box office booth. Love her.
Oh, that's right. Yep, yep. Totally. That's great. Oh my gosh, that's heck of fun. I'll have to visit her on my next trip to Disney World. But wrapping up the show today, we have a very exciting announcement. We have a winner. Woo! Winner to our previous episode about directing at Disney, which was held at the Walt Disney Family Museum. Thanks again to the Walt Disney Family Museum for giving us this book to hand out to one of our lucky winners. And I had everyone participate on Instagram, and we pulled a winner right before the episode today. And that goes to Natty Share.
Woo! Congrats, Natty Shay.
So when you hear this, give us a shout and give me all your details so I can get this book out to you. And hopefully you love it as much as I do and keep it forever. It's a beautiful book. So
Congratulations, Natty
congratulations.
Shay.
Yes. All right. So today was another just joyful episode about living as Disney Park locals, doing D23 events, race weekends, all the things. Park music and Haunted Mansion updates, Disneyland Paris, not Disneyland Paris, Epcot in Paris with Madame de la Croix,
Yes.
Rhoda. And
Love
yes,
her.
yes.
And again, congrats to Natty Shay. We hope everyone had a fun time listening, enjoying episode 227 of the Disney Holic Show.
Follow us on social media at the Disneyholics.
And if you want to get in touch, send us a DM on Instagram and contact us at the disneyholics.com or contact us there, however you
Both of
want
them.
to.
You have
Yeah.
to message us everywhere. We love you guys. All right, bye.
Bye.